And now it's time for a preview of an upcoming game by Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, do you know your neighbors? Do you like your neighbors? Are you one of those neighbors that no one else likes? I hope not, because I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're a board gamer, and we all know that board gamers make the best neighbors. What we're going to look at today is a preview of a game called Do You Know Your Neighbors? Now, like all previews, remember the components here are not even close to final production value. We're just kind of looking at how the game plays, because this game's currently on Kickstarter, and it's a chance for you to see if you could be interested in kickstarting it. This is a game that goes all the way up to 12 players, and from 5 to 12 players, it's kind of a party/deduction game. Let's take a look at it. Here's my friendly neighborhood. I have Mickey Manners, and Amanda Allhart, and Dustin Dubious, and Rico Repugnance, and Desiree Dutel. And there's all sorts of people in my town. Each of them is interested in something: disaster, health, fundraising, diplomacy, information. And then we have them categorized as in kind, fickle, or wicked. At the beginning of the game, cards are going to be dealt out to each person so that there's an equal number of kind and wicked people and fickle. It's all depending on the number of people playing. For example, if you play with a maximum of 12 people, you'll play with 4 of each, kind, fickle, or wicked. If you play with 7 people, you'll have 2 kind, 2 wicked, and 3 fickle. So you'll get your card that no one else will know. Oh, I'm Kathy Kindred. I'm a kind person interested in diplomacy. I'll put that card on my neighbor pile over here so that no one else will see it. I also will get 3 clue cards and 7 action cards. The game begins and each round occurs until one of the 3 teams win, whether that team is kind, wicked, or fickle, and that will be noted over here in score piles where you will place cards 1 for each of those. Each person also has a very specific victory condition on them. For example, Kevin can't pay. Oh, I know this guy. Who's interested in fundraising. If he can get 3 fundraising cards in the wicked pile, then the wicked team will automatically win. Now, in the first part of the game, you need some pencil and paper, or just a really good memory, and everyone is able to give each other clue cards. You're allowed to give out 1 clue card, and you can give that clue card to someone else, and they have to answer either yes or no. So, for example here, this says, does your name begin with the letter K? And so the answer to that question might be yes or no. That person will look at the card, they will then discard it face down over here, and they will tell you yes or no. And so you will be able to cancel off different people. The different types of cards, like for example, are you interested in information? Are you a woman? Do you have facial hair? Does your name begin with the letter D? Are you wearing glasses? Are you wearing a hat? Does your name begin with the letter T? And so you'll give these cards. The person who has a start token also will get to draw a card from the pile and give it to somebody, so he gets to give out an extra one. Players at the beginning of each turn, I should mention, before they give clues, are able to draw up to one of the kinds of cards in their hand. They can discard and draw up. So you have 3 clue cards, and you'll use 1, and then at the beginning of your next turn, you can draw and take 3 more clue cards, or you can draw up and take action cards. So you can only draw up to either all your action cards or all your clue cards. You have to have some resource management there. Now, if at any point during a game you are convinced you know who someone is because of the clues that you've given, you can accuse them. You can say, "Sir, I know that you are Mitchell Moody." He says, "Oh, yeah, you're right." And he reveals the Mitchell Moody card. Now everybody knows that this Mitchell Moody, who's interested kind of sort of in diplomacy, that's who he is. And that can give everybody some information. If, however, he's not Mitchell Moody, then I have to reveal my card. And since I made the mistake, and I can't accuse anyone else for the rest of the game. So you're not supposed to accuse somebody until you are absolutely sure that you are correct. Now, the next part of the game is really the major part. The person with the starting player is going to form a task team. They're going to take half the people in the group with them. And then the first person in turn order who they don't pick is the task leader for the other team. These task leaders are going to draw a diplomacy card. So, a situation card, I'm sorry. So let's look at this situation. This is a health card. And here the neighborhood kids rescue an injured bird in your yard and bring it to you. Now the kind people will placate the kids by giving the bird sanctuary and time to heal. The wicked people will leave the bird in the backyard. Hey man, survival of the fittest. Okay? Or maybe another one, a mail mishap. You accidentally open a neighbor's mail. A kind person would drop it off in the mail and explain that you accidentally opened it. A wicked person would share any juicy news in the mail with your closest friends and social media followers. Holiday decorations. Your neighbors want to set up their light show. Kind people will help them. Wicked people will fray some wires and hope for a lawn fire. And the tornado warning. Tornadoes are ripping through the area. You have a basement. Neighbors don't. Kind will offer them a place. And the wicked person says, hey man, you'll be fine. Now, each of these numbers has a number at the top. And let's take a look here, for example, at a 3 and a 1. Now, in each task group is able to play 1 or 2 cards, action cards, on top of the situation that they are involved with. Now, these cards are going to be either kind or wicked deeds. So let's say that these are the cards that are played on here, and these are the cards that are played on here from the different people who are involved. So we turn over these first. We have a super kind deed. That counts as 2 kind deeds. This is a kind deed. This is a kind deed. And this is a super wicked deed. So it's 4 to 2. So kind wins. Now they won by a margin of 2. That's more than this number. So this card goes in the kind area. On the tornado warning, we have a wicked, kind, and kind deed. So it's 2 to 2. It's a tie. Nobody wins it. But let's say kind had won it, and it was 3 to 2. They still wouldn't win it because they need to win by at least 3. And since nobody won it, hey, Fickle gets to play it there. A couple more things about the game. Don't forget that if you have 3 of your special interests in your pile, you win. But something else, whenever you identify somebody else, if you identify them correctly, you will get a special situation card that you'll put in front of you on your sheet, and that's not revealed until the end of the game. So that can be like a secret thing in your arsenal, and it also helps want to figure out who people are. Now, you want to know who people are initially, period, because it's really helpful to you if you're wicked to figure out who the other wicked people are, if you're friendly to figure out who the other friendly people are. Or to figure out who the opposites are. And once you know who people are, the game changes. See, at the beginning of the game, the fickle people have a bit of an advantage because no one knows what's going on, so they just spread confusion everywhere because that works to their benefit. And once they figure out who the friendly and wicked people are doing, how they're doing, that's good. Once they are known, however, the good and the wicked people, the kind and wicked people, are going to kind of send the fickle people, mix them up and send them to wherever they can so they don't cause as many problems. But they do add an interesting element to the game. Now, this game has deduction in it, which is very similar to Clue or to the Mystery at the Abbey type games. And it also has a very party feel to it, like Resistance or Werewolf, trying to work together to get things done. And at the beginning of the game, you don't really know what's going on, but you will feel things out as quickly as you possibly can. And there's 2 ways to do that. One is with the clues. That's directly figure out who people are. And you can keep notes and figure out, or you can just concentrate on one person and say, I'm going to figure out who that one person is. Or you can also watch how people play their action cards. There's a lot of different things that people are doing, not to mention the way they talk, the way they act. I found that someone who might act very kind is usually someone wicked, trying to cover that up because they don't want to act like they're wicked. And someone who's fickle usually, well, it's interesting. There's that judge of characters that will come as with negotiation, any kind of negotiation game like Werewolf. So if any of those things interest you, if you're interested in the whole idea of the negotiation or the deduction aspect of it, this game is really going to be one that's interesting to you. And it goes all the way up to 12 players. A lot of people can be involved, and there's a lot of accusations and interesting things flying back and forth. And of course, the theme is funny. The situation cards make me laugh, mostly because of what the wicked people do. But an interesting game. If you're interested in kickstarting it, in just a moment, I'm going to show you a link, and you can go there and support this project.
Thanks for watching our review today. For more information about board games, as well as the #1 board game audio podcast, check out Dicetower.com for reviews, interviews, and more. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Do, do.